I was almost late. I took my dog out to take a break outside. Okay, so have you taken a break from slots lately? Have you looked away? Maybe due to the pandemic and all the stuff that's been happening lately. Perhaps you lost your job and started a new business, like me. Maybe you've had to homeschool your kids, but they recently went back to school. So now you can pick up your slots hobby again. And everybody hear me? Good. Um, it doesn't matter what happened or how long ago it was. You decided you're back and need an update on the slots gaming industry. I'll start covering what you need to know in a moment. In the meantime, comment. For those who are watching this later or in the live stream now on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, of course, Twitter, comment on what changes you've noticed lately to help out your fellow slots enthusiasts. And of course, I'll be taking your questions because this is a live stream. I'm only saying that because, of course, the people who are live here now know it's a live stream, but you might be watching this after the fact. Hello to you watching this recording, listening to the podcast, watching on Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook. Thank you for being here. And be sure to subscribe for notifications so you can have your questions answered the next time I do one of these. But either way, stick around and I'm sure it'll be of value to you, even if you are watching this after the fact. But those of you who are here live, thank you so much. If you have a question, please use hashtag question. Let me display the banner for that. So it's across the bottom of the screen. If you could read that small if you're on a small phone, but I'm sure it's several inches high if you're watching on your big screen. So if you have a question, use hashtag question. That's so I can be sure to spot your question to me instead of comments in the live chat to each other, because my live streams get a lot of that. After all, this is a community video where friends check in about how their slots play has been going lately. And I have a donation already from Chuck. Thank you so much, Chuck, for your donation. It is what's called a super chat, and he says, "Hello from Missouri. At least it's not Iowa." Every state is special, including Iowa. I lived in Iowa for 10 years. Did I ever tell you that, not just you, Chuck, but podcast listener and all of that, having lived in Iowa for 10 years, I found out what the most popular vacation thing to do, and we have a vacation coming up, right? A holiday Monday, and the holiday weekend, big one. And I learned in Iowa that the favorite thing to do on the holidays in Iowa is to leave Iowa, because Minneapolis is right there. Omaha, Chicago, Kansas City, all on the other side of the border. And Chuck is also making a reference to something I'll be talking about a little bit later in the show about Iowa theoretical payout limits. Thank you so much, Chuck, for the donation. It is very helpful. Improve your slots performance in 30 days or less with my 30 days to play slots smarter and win. Here is the page with all the testimonials and description of what each section in the course is. So the first section, the first couple of days, 2 through 7 basics, 8 through 12 develop your plan, 13 through 16, and you are not required to hit a pace of 1 per day. You can take 4 or 5 or 6 per day. I've had some people that spent like 8 hours, but I think they kind of rushed it because there's homework to be done, and so you can get it done much shorter than 30 days, and you have lifetime access. It's one of the benefits that I talk about at the bottom of this page. Where is it? There it is. So the Slots IQ membership and what you get free. So yes, and the sign up page is over here in my my online courses for Professor Slots. Right now, there's just one, but more are coming. And if you click on the one that is available now, then you will see the course sign up. And that has the curriculum, basically a syllabus, which is expandable. And you can see what all is involved before you even make the purchase. So take a look at that if you are interested. And I'll make sure I'm all caught up. Great. So I wish everybody a wonderful Labor Day holiday weekend coming up. I just want to get that out first. Yes, I'll be offering my usual Saturday, here we are, and Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern live streams. But it's an interesting kind of business to have. This is my 153rd live stream. So I know a lot of you are traveling this holiday weekend because I've had 3-4 live streams around the Labor Day weekend, not to mention other major holidays during the year. So I know that not a lot of you are going to be here today, but a lot more than usual are going to be watching this later, perhaps while traveling. So I know a lot of you are traveling this weekend, and perhaps need some audio or video to make your travels more enjoyable. So, the saboteurs are at it. Stay away from the modem, Hetty. So I have a cat named Hetty. She's right over there. And she's looking at bugs outside the window. And she is a calico, kind of a gray calico. And she's named after... And my dog has got his bone. Okay, so it's just a busy day here. This is Kiri over here on the couch. A love seat. And yes, this is a bone. It's a bone made out of bacon, and I just threw it because he wanted some attention. Okay. The menagerie is okay for a minute. Let's move on. So yes, I'm having today's live stream and Tuesday's live stream because a lot of people travel and they need something a little extra while traveling. So here I am to help you with that. As I've done for years. If you're away from Wi-Fi, like on a plane where you don't want to pay extra for that service, or on the road in remote areas, check out my podcast. Episode number 180 will drop Sunday night, as will more episodes later in the week. And of course, my podcasts are free, along with so much else that I do for you. I'm not here to I'm not here to nickel and dime you to death. It is a business, but that's not. It's it's like talking about casinos having the lowest possible legal limit on their returns all the time just to get more money. Well, if you've had a business for a little while, you know that you don't do that. To have a good business, you need to make sure your customers are satisfied. So that's why the legal limit is 75%. Legal lower limit, no upper limit in Nevada, as I'll talk about, as I may talk about, is 75% a theoretical payout, but their state average is 93%. And it has been for years. So, I'm not here to nickel and dime you to death. That's not how a good business operates. That's not my brand, as the business folks say. If you've never listened to a podcast, well, there's a bunch of good ones out there. The ways to listen. My podcast is everywhere. Honestly, everywhere. I pay extra to make sure of that. And I'd mention which podcast services I'm on, but first there are too many to name. Really, there's like, I think 250 or something. Oh, that's the podcast apps. There's also something called podcast destinations, and even then it's like 15. And second, I'm contractually obligated for a few of them to mention them and all other destinations if I mention one of them. So it's just like I can't mention any. Just wherever you listen to audio, I'm there. Welcome to podcasting. But did you know I also have an app for iPhones and Android devices? It's called Professor Slots Play Slots Smarter and Win, and you can find it in your app store or you can listen where you can listen to my podcast on your listening app of choice, or you can listen to my podcast on whatever you use. I really want to rattle off some of the names, but again, I'm contractually obligated to mention all of them if I mention one of them. So I hope my podcast will make your travels this holiday weekend easier. And even if you have no delays, please safe travels. And I want to thank Magpie 11 for their donation. As usual, Magpie says, "Good morning, winners." Thank you, Magpie. I very much appreciate your donation. Thank you. And you know, I'm terrible at marketing. I try not to. I'm trying to fix that. I'm not trying to be like, well, John's, part of his brand is terrible at marketing, because that's not how you're successful at a business. I'm terrible at marketing, but I'm trying to do better. I offer so much free content that I forget to mention it. Yes, I have almost 300 videos on YouTube, 292, not including today's live stream. But that's not how many I've uploaded. Since April 2018, I've uploaded twice that many videos, 612 videos. But some of the early videos, I should show you some of them. Bad lighting. I didn't know about audio fixes. Yes, there's audio fixes. I just imagine a bunch of slots channels going, I gotta Google that. But some of the earlier videos were annual state by state updates, where the prior version from a year before had become out of date. So I would just have the most recent version. And I did that for like 4 or 5 years. And the gaming industry, I'm still doing it. And the gaming industry in the United States changes so quickly, which is, today's topic. For instance, 2018 was nothing like 2018, right? And those changes are what I'm helping you with today. If you've taken a break or even got busy and not noticed the changes. As I sometimes mention, change is a constant. Before I get back to the topic, or this is sort of the topic, I want to make sure that you know that I have 292 videos on YouTube, which are there for you. The live chat is on YouTube, but if you're watching from all the other places that I'm putting this live stream right now, Twitter, LinkedIn, my podcast, Facebook profile, later on my podcast, and all the different places it goes. Yes, YouTube, I have 292 videos, but my home base for my business is my website, professorslots.com. So that's what this looks like. And it's got different sections, and you can take a look at that. So I want to mention that at professorslots.com, I have 353 published articles. You may notice that 353 published articles is on my website is less than 292 videos on YouTube. So Homebase's website, and that's where you'll find more than I put any other place. I'm working hard to get my website articles up on YouTube, and besides those 61 different videos there, I have 35 another 35 articles and videos that I'm working on, and I'm working on producing right now. Well, to start, honestly, you guys have been great. You guys, I shouldn't say guys, you men and women, I get inspired by your comments, by my members of my Slots IQ community, my consultation clients, and occasionally even think up new ideas myself. Yesterday, a consultation client asked about MGM's recent purchases of 7 casino properties on the Las Vegas Strip, which you can imagine is, cost a lot of money. So every MGM property in the world, in the United States, in the world, must contribute to refilling the corporate financial coffers. But my client asks, it's been almost a year. Are they done lowering the odds at MGM Properties to pay their fair share back to corporate headquarters? So now I'm thinking about checking the 20 states with monthly return statistics. Not all of those 20 states have casino by casino. Some of them are in state regions. But I want to focus on the return statistics for MGM Properties only and see what the return statistics show. Are they done? Have they stopped lowering the odds? See, these kinds of suggestions inspire me to find out and share. So I have ideas, old ideas, current ideas, new ideas all the time. And it's just, a lot of fun, a lot of work, a lot of fun. So helping my community of slots enthusiasts, that means you, isn't limited to sharing winning slot strategies. There's more to it than how to win at slots. You might disagree, but consider this. Do you know how to leave a casino with your winnings? That's not about winning. That's about leaving with your winnings. It's a separate topic. Slots enthusiasts tell me all the time that they lose at slots. And I ask them, do you not win? Or do you win but can't get any of those winnings home? Because that's two completely different issues. So as with today's topic, helping my community of slots enthusiasts is more than strategies. It's about the slots gambling lifestyle, leaving with your winnings, getting the best comps by managing your average daily theoretical better. Tip: don't go to your local casino and spend $300, then the next day make a $5 sports wagering bet on their website because your ADT went from $300 for one visit down to $305 for two visits, which is just over $150 per visit. That single $5 bet just halved your dollar value to your casino and therefore halved your comps, which gets even worse if you make $5 online sports betting, if your state has that, 6 days a week and then spend $300 at the casino 1 day a week. What's 330 divided by 7? I'll tell you what it is. It's not good because you had a $300 dollar value to your casino, then you had a dollar value under $50. Ouch. You may still get a bit of free slots, free play. And of course, anything in your tier level that is given to everybody in the tier level, doesn't matter if you're winning or not. Those are the guaranteed comps like travel, but not the extra stuff. So, you could put yourself out of the running for that great Weber grill just in time for the Labor Day weekend. Why? Because according to the casino calculations of your dollar value to them, you're not worth it. To them, it's not personal. It's business. We're talking today about changes to the slots gaming industry. I first noticed back in early 2018 that the ADT equation had been changed. I'd spent $3,000 over 3 days at Foxwoods, won a $4,500 hand pay, and they wouldn't take anything off my room fee, much less comp me for it entirely. That was new. It meant the ADT equation had been updated because too many players were winning at slots. Quietly, of course. Shh. But casinos have the accounting from your players' club cards, so they know what you've done when using it, even if you aren't a bragger. And then they decided to stop giving away so much free stuff they're not obligated to give you because of your tier level, because you haven't earned it. Again, that's a change. They changed the ADT equation to include not just what you spent, but assumed you got 90% and just assumed you got 90% or so back on average to an ADT equation, which used what you won precisely. Casinos learned enough of their slots players were winning more than they were spending, so casinos put an end to it. Put an end to those business losses. It's not personal, it's business. As an aside, is that a quote from The Godfather? Anybody know? Let me know. I don't have The Godfather memorized, the movie or the book. So the whole comps reward system has been upended if you've been away for maybe 4 to 5 years. There's other things. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. The pandemic hit casinos so hard. Whoever expected casinos would close for 1, 2, sometimes 3 consecutive months? It was unprecedented. Yes, in 1963, the year I was born, we lost a president through assassination, and Las Vegas closed on the day of his funeral, President Kennedy's funeral. One day. And that was it. So, and that was 1963. And so suddenly, without much warning, and I'll explain how I know that in a moment, without much warning, all casinos closed, and not just for a day, not because some sort of power outage. It was all casinos for a month, 2 months, sometimes 3 months. So, whoever expected they would do that. It was not expected. And that's a fact, by the way. Slot machine manufacturers submit annual financial reports to the Security Exchange Commission, which are legally required to be truthful and written in layman's language, which means it's just not a bunch of accounting jargon or something specific to the slots industry. That an ordinary person needs to be able to understand what is written. They are required to they are not required to describe fully describe their trademark secrets, because every other slot machine manufacturer carefully studies every other company's reports. But one section of these reports is called forward-looking statements. I don't know if anybody here has any of that. I learned all this with my master's degree in business management, and as someone who is trying to understand things in the gaming industry, this is where I go. Every year I read these financial reports submitted to sec.gov for IGT and Scientific Games to learn what the best gaming experts in the world know. And it's not some, spun marketing pitch at a gaming trade show, or some podcast where a VP of sales, podcast or video, where a VP of sales is interviewed. Maybe they're telling the truth, and maybe they are not. In these reports, they are legally obligated to tell the truth, which I find reassuring. In any technical field, bad information is a killer. As an old professor of mine once said, garbage in is garbage out. Frank was a programmer. More than that, he designed analysis packages based on mathematical models for the aerospace industry. He was a world-class aerospace engineer, even more than I was, and he knew that bad data leads to bad analysis. I learned that lesson from that professor, one of my laboratory supervisors for my doctorate, and co-author of several papers with me, funded by the U.S. Air Force and publicly available on the Federal Aviation Administration's online technical library for all to see. I take getting good data on slots very seriously. I've worked hard at it, giving it out for free to you guys because I want to help. And I did warn everybody, someday I'm going to have something which is going to cost money, but this is all my free stuff. This is all my free stuff because, we could talk about the business approach, but let's not. State laws. Yeah. I've read the gaming regulations on all U.S. states, territories, and our federal district. Each, something like 5 times. I look for changes, and I created summary articles and videos of what I've learned for years. For your state, you can go to professorslots.com, followed by a / and then your state's 2-letter postal designation. It won't take you long to see that states don't set odds. Don't set casino odds. 30 states set minimum limits on theoretical payouts, all so low that casinos wouldn't remain open if they used them, because no one would play slots there if they did. And 14 of those states have set a maximum limit on theoretical payouts, which can be a real burden to casinos. Chuck made a comment earlier about being from, do I have that on his donation? He said, "Hello from Missouri. At least it's not Iowa." And that's what he was talking about, because Chuck knows these things. He's read my articles, and for his state. And I pointed out, I don't think he's read the one for Iowa, but I mentioned it to him. Well, at least you're not in Iowa. And I explained why, which is that they have a maximum theoretical payout limit, as does 14 U.S. states. But there's a subtlety here. There is wording in the gaming regulation about theoretical payout limits for maximum limits in those 14 states. It depends if the law says applied per wager, or if it instead says over the lifetime of the game. Because per wager is, wow, that's a real burden. And Iowa has that. And so that limit per wager cannot be over 100%. It is legally causing the casinos to not have a machine set to win. You can win, but it can't be set to win, right? So if you played for a long time, it's going to be 100% at best on their best slot machines. It won't be 102, 120, like some casinos set their machines for marketing purposes. But some of just a few machines, up to maybe 3, and then some other places, it's like the end of every row, every highly visible machine. But because it says per wager, and not over the lifetime of the machine, that's nowhere near the same level of difficulty for casinos. By the way, Virginia got its new gaming regulations in place, and they have a upper limit, and I think they do. And yeah, they do. And it's 100%. And they say over the lifetime of the specific game theme on that one machine. So if it gets a software update to be the new version of that game, that means the clock starts again. It's the unmodified game theme for the length that they have that. And if the slot machine manufacturers come out with a patch for something that's causing an error, well, then it's reset. And they can't reset it until they make sure that over the lifetime of the game that they don't have it over 100%. Because when you have it over the lifetime, per wager, it's pretty clear. But over the lifetime of the game, that means that for the first half of you having that machine, if you have it for a year, first 6 months, you can make it over 100%. But you can't get rid of it after that until you've had it below 100%, enough so that over the lifetime of the game, it's 100% or less. And more people will play it when it's winning, and less people will play it when it's losing. So it's not exactly 6 months and 6 months. It's more like 6 months and a year and a half when it's a loser. So the casinos have to manage this, and they can't get rid of some machines until that's happened in states where it's on the lifetime of the game, like Virginia. Now, Virginia's got new, so everything is only a couple months old, and that's the lifetime so far. And what a lot of casinos would do is make these new machines have low odds for a certain length of time, and then they can make them have high odds right before they get rid of them. And they have to get rid of them before they exceed that 100% in those 14 states. Anyway, I feel like I'm having a consultation here where we just like dig into what you have in your state. So difference between per wager and lifetime of the game. Depending on how long you've been away, or if you are new to my content, your state's information has been curated for you. make sure you check your state to see if your gaming commission has cut your casinos off at the knees or if they've left your casinos some legal freedom. About 7 states or so, including Iowa, Mississippi, and Pennsylvania, and others, have cut off their casinos at the knees by applying a 100% maximum theoretical payout limit per wager, which really puts a damper on marketing efforts at those casinos. So check my online resource, and my online resource is here. This is all free, just trying to help out. This is my online resource for U.S. casino slots enthusiasts. It's at professorslots.com/online resource with a dash between the two. You can go directly to your state by typing professorslots.com/ the 2-letter postal designation, or you can click on one of these. And if you go to Virginia, here, all these articles are set up basically the same sections, but what's in the section depends on what's in that state. So this is Virginia. There's a legal relevant legal statutes, whether you can own a slot machine or not, and what rules might be for private ownership, with the Gaming Control Board, casinos, maps, where you are in the country, Facebook group, and then there's just before the summary, there's this theoretical payout and return statistics. So in these articles, I have the link to .gov, your state's gaming commission, and trying to point you directly to the PDF where all of this is at. So section K of their in chapter 90 under section 150 in its section K is where the theoretical payout minimum and maximum are located. Thank you very much to my moderators today for being moderators. One of them, Slots of Fun, who's nearby, has been to one of the casinos of the 3 casinos that has opened in Virginia. Thank you for providing this information. I dug out a little bit more, and so trying to find out now if they have return statistics or not. They kind of there's not much accumulated. Looks like it might be once every 3 months, which is a little bit unusual. But then every state is special. So professorslots.com/online-resource for links to each free article, or just professorslots.com followed by slash and your state's 2-letter postal designation. For example, professorslots.com/MS for my Mississippi slots article. Being forewarned is being forearmed, and it's all free for like 5 years now, just trying to help. So what else has changed in the last few years? Well, players have always liked bonuses, right? But they have become even more popular. And after casinos started sharing that information, that feedback to slot machine manufacturers, now it's hard to find a video slot machine without not one. You may be surprised to find, if you've been away, it's not one bonus game. It's like 10. And the more you pay and how much you pay would be which ones are available that could happen. Bonuses are not liked. They are loved. So much so that slot machine manufacturers have correctly interpreted that love to mean players would rather get bonuses than win money playing slots. More than that, slot machine manufacturers have taken a feature from online slots. Now we're starting to see slot machines where you can pay extra and be guaranteed a bonus round. Sound great, but you're not guaranteed a bonus round that makes money. That's more than the $35 you might have to spend to get your bonus round on a penny machine. You're guaranteed the bonus round. You're not guaranteed a profit. But yes, you'll get a bonus round. These are the new technologies coming out. We could talk a little bit. It's hard to get good data on how many physical real slot machines have been switched out for video slot machines. A lot of state return statistics will say how many machines you might have within a denomination or at a casino, but they don't differentiate between physical reels and video slots. But just walking through a casino, if they still have a lot of physical reel slot machines, that's because they own them. But the video ones, it's more of a leasing arrangement with the slot machine manufacturers because it's less costly immediately to the casino. I think it was Aristocrat, was it, that had an interview with a VP of something, and they said $20,000 each. So if you get a lease, it works for you. If you have to get a new version, it's like leasing a car, right? If you're going to have it for 25 years, you don't want to lease because you pay for it 10 times. But if you could even get a contract like that. But if you want to get a new one every year, or for a little while, leasing is an option. And so this is a casino business decision, and casino slot machine manufacturers just trying to help the businesses. So this want and desire of slots enthusiasts for bonus rounds, for loving bonus rounds, isn't wrong. I'm not trying to say, the heart wants what the heart wants. But if you're taking a break from slots, you need to be aware of this major trend. Maybe you also love bonus rounds more than making money. Maybe your gambling goal isn't entertainment, but rather comps, where you want to play slot machines where you endlessly cycle bankrolls to go up in tier levels to get the guaranteed tier level benefits. Even though cycling bankrolls endlessly won't get you anything extra in free play, because your low or zero ADT doesn't earn you that in the casino's business calculation on your dollar value. So improve your slots play in, yes. Reset. Improve your slots play in 30 days or less with my 30 days to play slots smarter and win online course. You'll get 3 free valuable bonuses plus 1 month free membership to my Slots IQ community, where you'll get support and accountability. Thursday night meetings have been fantastic for more than has it been a year? I think it might have been a year. I started it last September. If it's not a year, next week it'll be a year. And weekly meetings, with the exception of Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, because we're having dinner. We're not. So lots and lots and lots of weekly meetings where we all get together and chat, and everybody can see each other because it's a Zoom meeting. So that's the Slots IQ community. And so visit professorslots.com/30 days to get 1 month free for that, and see what your other free bonuses are, what the course content is, and testimonials from participants. So let's take a look at the questions and see how things are going. Trucking and gaming. Hi. I have a bunch of people that are love my podcast who are truck drivers, and I've been adding towards the end of my episodes again at their request what's going on in each state, and each episode will have the latest information. I've begun to do that again. I've begun to cycle through them again. I'll talk about a topic, but at the end of the podcast episode, I'll talk about alphabetically the next state. And truck drivers have said, thank you for doing that, because I can download it instead of while I'm driving, just whenever I get to Wi-Fi site and at the gas station or wherever, and just download the next podcast and not have to pay that fee to have an active internet connection. So if you're a truck driver listening, thank you for your service. Yes, please like to inform YouTube that that you like this, and more people will show up in the next hour or so. And this is Curie. She's enjoying herself. I think Serenacy, and good morning to you in the Seattle area. Partly she's here to see this, to see my cats. And Camilla, welcome to you as well. I can't thank you enough for reminding me that Canadian dollars are made of plastic, and that the lockable wallet with a little slit in it, it's too slippery to be pushed in there. Um, uh, yeah, and so I don't see a question, but I guess Casino King and Queen have a question. If I use my wife's reward play and hit up hand pay, will I still get it, or no cause? It's not my card. I have seen both. I have seen Newport Gaming. This is the Players Club that's at the Churchill Properties. This is Kentucky. They have only HHR machines, but I've seen them post it. I think my card is not here, it's downstairs. And it says right on it, this is for, I'm paraphrasing, this is for you. It's not for anybody else. If we find this card being used by someone who is not you, again, there's a shorter way to say this, then you will lose your membership to the Players Club for your lifetime. And because they have your driver's license number, they can make that stick. But then you have other places which are like, no, I don't care, where you get 2 Players Club cards for one account, and both you and your wife are using it, or your spouse, I should say, are using it, and then you earn more points, and then you get a travel comp, which is for travel for one person +1, guest +1, and you're like, you and your spouse go. So, but that's only where they say it's okay. So just ask. If you want to call, so they don't know, so they don't recognize who you are, you can call and ask. But all these, Players Clubs are different. I haven't been to Boonville, Missouri. Anything or any place is better than I'm sorry, trucking and gaming, but it could be a failure of imagination about how bad things could get. Yeah, I think Missouri has, let me see here. People, you can look up yourself what it is, but if I type professorslots.com/MO and we go there, take a look at that. This is the article. Again, everything is, introduction, relevant legal statutes, private ownership. This is where you sign up to my email list. Gaming Control Board, again, all free. Casinos. Where it is in the United States, the Facebook group, the private Facebook group. Then there's the link to where, so it's only 80%, lower limit, no upper limit, and return statistics are possible. And you said Boonville. You didn't give the name, so let me go up to the casinos here. And is there one that says Boonville? Boonville, right. Isle of Capri. Okay. So if I go down to the return statistics here, this is for March 2021. I'm trying to update these as fast as I can. Missouri is coming up in maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It's after Massachusetts and Maryland. Isle of Capri, Boonville, yep, 90%, which you can see all the others here are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are under. So Isle of Capri, Boonville is right in the middle of the pack. Now, one of the things that I'm doing in my return to player articles that I'm creating for the 20 states that offer this, including Missouri, is to see, well, they're in the middle pack now, but were they in the middle of the pack a year before or a year after? How are they doing over 20 years of reporting? What decisions have the casino make on where they are in the pack? And the articles that I've done on the states that I've covered so far, it's clear decisions. Hey, you're going to Atlantic City? Here is your casino. I mean, there's practically daylight between that top performing casino. I think there's one other too. That's right up close to it, and then there's a gap, and there's the whole pack beneath it, and so it's just like your baseline slots play will it's not random. It's what did you say, Chuck, like a week ago at the last Slots IQ meeting? Randomness is too important to leave to chance. Sorry, I just think that's great. So Steve, hi Steve. Steve is from Wisconsin. Longtime listener. Not first time you've asked a question. Multi-denomination, do you think that the percent changes on them? Do you think the percent changes on them? I've been testing them and have been keeping track and haven't noticed changes on them. What's your thought? So basically the way that slot machines work before multi-denomination machines was every different denomination, every machine had a setting, had a theoretical payout setting applied, no matter what the denomination was. So that meant that every denomination would have its own. And we can see that in the 6 states that provide return statistics by slot machine denomination, that this was set here and this was set here, because the returns, the difference between theoretical payout and returns is like your household budget for next month is what you decided to be, your budget. And then after the month is over, you look back at your checking account and you say, what the heck happened? So there's the plan, and then what happened. And that's the plan is theoretical payout set, whatever it's set to within the legal limits. And the second is actually what happened. And so we look at the actually what happened, and we can learn something about what the setting was, because it's always high or it's always low. Like, for instance, penny slots are just always at the bottom, have been for many years. One month in Colorado, it wasn't, and I was shocked, but I guess it had to be, happen sometime. So when multi-denomination machines started becoming more and more popular, it's just that keep the same thing. It's easiest, engineering, Occam's razor, easiest thing to do is just keep doing what you're doing instead of trying to do something new. Each denomination has its own theoretical payout setting. It doesn't have to be different. We see in the returns that it is, but it doesn't have to be different for any particular machine. It's just a feature which is in there, and the casino says we want it to be this theoretical setting and make it so. And somebody does that. And sometimes with a central server, sometimes not. And it is set to whatever. So they could all be the same at your casino, because setting them differently is more work, which has to do with having more slots and slot techs, has a army of slot techs. That's why they got central servers, is to get rid of those people. You see so many slot techs not working as slot techs anymore, and you wonder what happened. And so they as with anything else, are you in automotive? Are you in manufacturing? What happened to all that over our lifetimes? Automation. And so it saves money. So it just becomes easier. It went from, how quickly can this limited number of people get to all slot machines versus making it automated. And now we can change it 3 times a day, as much as we want. Yeah. Bruce, you worry me, but we will get to your comment. don't mean to go on about this. So second part, I've been testing them. Yeah, that's my thoughts, that it can be set differently. What I'm trying to that's known, and to my satisfaction. And what I would like to know, and I can't find papers on it, patents on it, reports on it. I can't find anything like they are legally obligated to tell the truth sort of documents about minimum bets and maximum bets under the same denomination. Whether minimum bets and maximum bets have different theoretical payout settings, because I've seen it. I mean, I haven't cracked open a slot machine. I haven't checked. I haven't gone over to my neighbor's slot machine and looked to see if that's a feature that can be set. Although that's a good idea. And I would like to have confirmation that my gameplay is showing me making a profit on a winning machine at minimum bets and not making a profit at maximum bets. And I'd like to better understand, the gaming regs or the, requirements. I'd hate to make a judgment based on opening up a slot machine in one particular state and going, that's how it is everywhere. This is I'd like to have a better idea of what the industry standard is and for this. But again, some of the stuff that we are working with is, I'm not a casino executive, and I recognize that I'm not a casino executive. And even the casino executive isn't the person who knows, because they don't have experts. They hire experts. The slot machine manufacturers are the ones that sell these services, and the consultants and the setup. And the casino doesn't even have enough room to have an office, because instead of having that office, you could put in 8 slot machines and make $17,000 per machine per month on profit, pure profit. And so they're just like, all you, slot attendants, we're going to give you a small break room. Just small break room because we're losing money. If you even, can we get away with not having a break room at all? That's the sort of trying to decide how to make money. So, yeah. So nobody that works at a casino knows what I'm looking for. It's the slot machine manufacturers that know, and the casinos just farm it out, have a contractor. And okay. And there's comments to one another. Like I said, please use hashtag question so I can see if the question is for me. Kiana Brown, can you still win at small slot machine shops that have like 6 machines, or small bars, restaurants, etc.? Every state is different. In Wyoming, there is it Wyoming or is it Montana? If you go to professorslots.com/2-letter postal designation, you'll learn that. But let's go to, let me share this. I am just going to guess and say Illinois, because they have bars and taverns with up to that many slot machines. I think it's actually 5 or 10. And if you go to some of these states, I've already completed the return to player statistics reports. So if you go to, I have to remember to put that back in. Okay. So let's go to, I want to help you find it instead of just reciting this. If you go to reviews on the main page, professorslots.com, and you jump in here, this is Maine's, Louisiana, Kentucky's return to player. Then my casino reviews are also here. There's Iowa, and we're looking for the next one, which would be Illinois. Nope, sorry, Indiana, then Illinois. So Illinois, they have return statistics, but only for their machines in bars and taverns, not for the riverboat casinos. And so if we go to here, This is, and some people will be on a small device with a small screen. So let me zoom that in. Okay. So they started recording, they started getting bars and taverns with slot machines in September 2012, and they keep track at the Illinois State Lottery of what the return is. They are now lower than they ever were, including, I think they had like 300 machines that first month, and then it shot up, and then it's been going down for a little bit in the 2016, 2017. It kind of went back up a little bit. Then there were some breaks here. One of them is the pandemic, and then they lowered it here. So now it is lower than it has ever been, and they have 41,000 machines and bars and taverns, about 5 max. And it's on average, it's the worst it's ever been. And this is run by the state lottery. This is a different system than casinos have. Most casinos have, almost all casinos have. Washington does something similar, but at casinos. I have to wonder if Illinois state budget has been having some difficulties and they need more money. And again, as we were talking before, businesses don't do this because players lose and they stop, which is no way to run a business, a successful business. But governments are a little bit different. It's not like we can't have a government. Right. So your question was, can you still win in slot machine shops that have 6 machines? You can always win. The trick is to stop playing and leave. Okay, these are not some states like Tennessee. They're all illegal, but they're just not enforced. And I think it's Montana that they were all illegal, but then the state realized that they were missing out on income taxes. on their share of income taxes, and so they said, no, we'll make them legal, but you all have to have a gaming license, which like $30 or something. And so they got $430 license fees per year from that, and then all the taxes from the company, the bar and tavern making money from those slot machines, which when run, 24 hours a day. There's return statistics from Indiana that says that you make $513 a day in profit on their average for their slot machines, and each one individually. And so that's a lot of money. 17,000, almost 18,000 for a month. And if you get 5 of them, you get 10 of 5 of them. That's nearly $100,000 well, it's almost $200,000 per month. And states said, we're going to make you legal and you're going to pay taxes, and woohoo, we're going to have a party now because they missed out on that. It's some of the stuff, I don't know if you like it, but it's fascinating to me. Kentucky realized with their HHR machines that came in at the racetracks that historic horse racing, and it's not a slot machine. Slot machines are not allowed in Kentucky, but these machines that look just like them are, and everybody has to have a license and all of that. And the state was it kind of happened and kind of was legal, but the state legislatures were kind of caught off guard, and then they looked at how much money the casinos were making, and they were like, did we get taxes on that? Oh, they paid taxes at the rate they paid taxes before the machines came, but it's and they compared nearby states on the income percentage for having slot machines, and Kentucky wouldn't. Oh my goodness, we're not asking anywhere near enough on and I found it a little bit amusing. They're now like, what laws can we draft to get our income taxes from those companies that would be anywhere near what other states who didn't miss that fact um, get that back in. So yeah, it was all pretty. Kentucky gets a clue. Jason, hey, good to see you, Jason. Going to the local tribal casino tonight for a few hours. The bankroll is $300. Should I max bet on the 2-cent machines or go to the high limit room and minimum bet on number $1 or $2 machines? Okay, so just going at this cold, minimum bets on $2 machines. However, you have been to this casino before. Okay, I would recommend minimum bets on 2-cent machines if you've never been to that casino before. But we've talked, you've asked questions in the past, and I suspect you have figured out a few things about that casino. Now, what did you see? What did you learn? Well, all I can do is list everything, and you can say that one, that one, that one. So your prior visits, which I assume you've had, your prior visits informed you on whether it's a good idea to go to the high limit room and use what works from your prior visits. So, two answers. First off, if you've never been there, you got to start assessing it, you got to start learning it. And I say save your money, minimum bets, because the point is to learn what works. But you may have done that already. So the second piece of advice is if you've done that already, use what works. It may not be $1 to $2 machines at high limits, unless you're really got a good grasp of what works. It may be maximum bets on 2-cent machines. You know, it is a progression. I talk about everybody has on a slots journey, and where are you on it? Thank you, Paula, one of my moderators. She's a quick draw on the XXX scammers that come in so fast, and others. Great. So that's my thoughts, Jason. Daryl, have you been to the Arkansas casinos? I have not. I heard some fantastic stories. Let's see here. Let me put in Arkansas. I want to remember. And if I go to that article, Arkansas legal requirements, gaming commission, private ownership, casinos. Right. Wasn't there like a casino that is no longer in effect? They had a proposed one. There was two proposed one. The one in Pine Bluff has opened. I'm not sure yet. Could you tell me if the Russellville one opened? I had heard there were delays. And then there's, of course, the usual Oaklawn and Southland casinos that have been around for a long time. So no, I create these Facebook groups here because I can't go to every casino often enough. But if you go to it's a simple math thing. 1,000 U.S. casinos. If I go to 2 per week for an entire year, it will take me 10 years to go to all of them. So I created Facebook communities 2 years ago, something like that, for each state, and number of members has been building and building and building. On my main one, which is in about a state, it's kind of the global one, is 18,000 members, which is a good number. But some of these state by state ones might have 150, 300. Washington State's got a couple thousand. Oklahoma's got a couple thousand. I'm not going to show you that because it's private and I don't want to share anything unless you become a member. But that's where you can find out, what happened last night. Heck, somebody could be, on there right now, uploading their wins, and they're at the casino right now on their phone. So this is how you find out from locals who have your casinos as their casinos, and ask them questions. Search through the community for what's happened in the past and reach out, because I can't be everywhere at once. Magpie 11. And question, when considering a central server, could the jackpot code be written as if-then range? For example, if 10 cents to 25 cents max bet, then major trigger. Occam's razor. That sounds a little bit too hard for a slot tech that doesn't have a college degree. And it sounds like it would cost too much because of the time that it would take to set that up. Third, Occam, these are all Occam razors. Occam's razor, which is the most likely answer, is usually the answer. What if somebody gets that programming statement just a little wrong? All right. The more complex something is, the easier it is to break and the more likely of disaster. Yes, it could have it. I tend to think, no, I would say they would all have it in 5 years. I would say 5 years ago, they didn't have it. And what's happening right now? You know, casinos are trying stuff out. And it is within the realm of possibility. Technically, it's within the realm of possibility. There are some things which are like, they would be stupid not to do it, like bonus rounds. But there's other stuff that they can't get, even if they wanted it, like real-time analytics, real-time accounting, because it takes time to count chips. And table games are a big part of some casinos. And even just the slot machine stuff, it all has to be double checked and processed. And it, 3,000 machines, 2,000 machines, 1,000 machines being played, as much as we know, 169 hand pays on one machine at Kashada. It's all documented in a month, 4 weeks in a month. That sort of thing, they take a minute to double check it. And when you do a minute for every slot machine, it can take 4 hours. So there are some things which are not currently technically possible because it's just not there yet. And those returns, those financial statements to the SEC.gov, they don't have to explain how they do it, but they have to explain if they have it. And so that's this accounting system is one of the things that has to be in there. When I think about this, what you're looking to have, that there would be a major trigger for 10 cent, 25 cent, $1 bets. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be an if-then statement. There might be a simple way to do it, which can be applied. As we've discussed, and Magpie 11 and I have, I'll call it advanced conversations, because we just do. And she's a fan that's been with me for years now, 6, one of my earlier fans, of which there are several on the live stream. I don't mean to say some of you are not. And she's had time to think about and look into some of these questions. And if you're talking about having a major trigger, there may be other ways to do it, which doesn't involve that. The central server programming, I mean, I've heard people talk about, well, I've been in the room and it doesn't look that complicated. Okay, this is a cell phone. It's pretty small. That's and it's more powerful than the computer that was on the Apollo space missions, by far. So, right. So how they go about doing it in the code, um, it 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 might be. I just think that there's just a far simpler way that gets rid of the worry. Like, let's see, this is the conversation, okay? The slot machine manufacturer says, we have this central server and you get your choice of algorithms. There's this, and this. And we've checked, and these are your rules for your gaming jurisdiction. So you can have not any of the 12 that we offer or whatever, but rather this subset, these, I don't know, 4 different. And it could be 50 for all I know. And so they also pitch, and with this, you'll be able to do this. And with this, you'll be able to do this. And with this, you'll be able to do this. And the associate and the casino will respond by saying, and what are the risks? Does anybody else have these machines? You don't have to tell us who has them, but does anybody else? And has there been problems? Well, 0.01%, what's the quality assurance? Have you ever been part of quality assurance? I was General Electric Aviation in the quality assurance program. What's called a certifying agent. And it's a level 3. A level 3 in ultrasonic inspections, and I taught the courses. So, it was pretty amusing. The national organization that has the standards was asking me to develop test questions for them. So anyway, there are, the casino is going to ask, is this safe? Is this reliable? What is the likelihood of problems? And it's not 0. Okay. People are traveling on the weekend, and it's the risks are not 0, even though they're far smaller than for one way of travel than another way of travel. And so thinking that there is nothing to be found is nothing bad will ever happen because they've made it perfect. Well, perfect. How perfect is kind of the question. So I can see casinos being very, their reputation depends on not having an error. And we know they mess up because sometimes jackpots are not given out and everybody expects it would be, but they check the machine for an internal fault. On every hand pay, and certainly on any wager at all, because it'll go into service mode if something breaks. Right. And I'm getting down a rabbit hole here, but it's you always have such interesting questions, and I'm just trying to state what is known, and you may be the number one person who has inspired a live stream topic. Thank you for the excellent questions. Now I'm sweating. Steve, are you going to do a segment on how the central computer servers and operations work so the average person can get a better understanding of how they're set up and what systems are out there? I did do a couple of them, which was the one that the what is it called? The who's the head of the casino? The CEO of Indigo Sky in Oklahoma on their Facebook page said what central server system they had, and I went over that on a live stream a little while ago. There's also one that's from Yggdrasil, but that was an interview with out of the United States YouTube channel, and I saw it on LinkedIn. Actually, I think it's lots of fun. I shared that, and I was just blown away by some of the features that they're talking about. And so what was in that interview, which makes it hard for me to answer your request, is some casinos, the larger chains, they don't have somebody at every casino figuring out how to do this stuff in the background. They have a research center that's not a casino that makes central server software for all of MGM, all of Caesars Entertainment, all of Penn National's Hollywood casinos. So if it's a company, I can go to the company's website, like Yggdrasil, and I can see these interviews, and they're trying to get customers, and it's, they got Security Exchange, SEC.gov documents that I can look at. IGT has employed them in the United States for their online games. So some of the features they were talking about there was great, but otherwise it's trademark secret stuff because it's internal to the company. That's what I got from one of these interviews was, well, we can only offer this service to those smaller casino operators because the bigger ones do it themselves. So I can't break that. And I don't want to. The whole idea of kind of like, my idea of going to a casino, or going to a slot machine manufacturer, getting hired, and then signing I will never share this in my life, and then stealing everything and leaving is not my brand. And I saw a TikTok individual saying that they were a slot tech, and they were wearing a disguise. And the reason they were wearing a disguise, of course, was because their job says they can't do anything like that. But they put on all sorts of stuff to hide who they were. I'm not interested in that. So there are ways this works, and the people who know are those that program central servers, either companies that provide this service to casinos or the portion of the casino in a small shop in Nevada that does this for the entire country. And the casino was invested in it because it's well worth the money spent. And either way, it's locked away. You have to, take the engineering approach, not the physics approach. What works? What's my favorite state to? Oops. What's my favorite state to play slots? I love all of them. Almost. There's maybe 7 states I don't like. And I may have shared some of that earlier because I don't like, I like casinos that try to manipulate its players, because if you know what they're doing, you just manipulate them right back. And it's, instead of them taking advantage of you, you take advantage of them. But when there's state laws, like a maximum theoretical payout percentage limit and per wager, about 7 or so states have that, I'm just like, why bother? I have no desire to go back to Pennsylvania. I should go to Biloxi, but I know it's going to be a break-even trip at best. I'm just like, that doesn't do it. Well, lots of people are in Mississippi and they'd like to know breaking even would be just fine by them. So I will go eventually. I had planned on going last year, but the person who invited me, I went to Missouri and Louisiana for these long trips before, just using my savings, and met Chuck and Texas Tootsie. But I had a third one planned for Biloxi, and it didn't work out because they got ill. I should check and see how they're doing. So I love all of them, but a few of them are like, I go for you guys to help out, but I'm like, I guess I will, and just go and break even. I'd rather win, but the job's the job, and helping you is the job. Marcel, I don't see a question, but let me check. Please use #question. I think you're saying Eastern Europe, and some of the oldest machines from Novomatic, Admiral, EGT. Yeah, totally understand how they function now. When I started playing on them, I had no idea what return to player even was. Return to player is like 3 different things, all entirely different, and you have to understand each way that is meant. Understand return the player entirely. Okay. Just talking to the others. All I knew was put in more and increase the bet for them to pay out. Or it won't. And so the longer you play, the more likelihood you'll win something, but not necessarily. And so, there's a few better strategies than that, shall we say? But I don't see a question. So, thank you for sharing, Marcel. Jan. Hey, Jan. Sports betting began September 1st in Kansas. Yep. I think Pennsylvania got recently approved too, right? Run by the Kansas Lottery, sure. Only on their state-run casinos. Right. And probably geolocated on your phone, so you have to be physically located within the state of Kansas. New Jersey has that feature where you can't sports bet at the casinos in New Jersey if you're not in New Jersey. And in fact, you have to be like a mile or two for the cell phone towers to pinpoint you as definitely being within the borders and not maybe 50 feet outside of the borders. So yeah, for people, so that was just mentioning not to you, but to other people, you may say, hey, sports betting in Kansas. Well, you may have to be geolocated within Kansas in order to use that. Anyway, how might the increased traffic affect slot machine odds? I haven't seen anything that's affected them. One of the things that we can do, and I have that as it happens right here, we can look at July 2022, not for Kansas, but for this is July 2022, and I'll put your question away so people can see this. We have, let me see if I can highlight something here. Right, so this is slot machines. The first section here is current month, 3-month average, 12-month average. So I'm going to go back to say this is July 2022 for Nevada for all statewide organizations, and there are 307 casinos that have slot machines in Nevada. That's part of what we see here. 62,000 multi-denomination machines, 47,000 penny machines, and everything else is a whole lot less. And the average return is about 7%. This is the casino hold percent. The player win percent would be about 93.07. Okay, so up here is table games for July, but down here is racetrack betting, and the win percent. So I haven't seen much of an effect of having sports betting on slot machine odds. You can see that anything in parentheses on the win percent was actually a loss for the casino. And there was a lot of loss percent for sports hockey. What happened? Did the Las Vegas Knights unexpectedly perform? Whatever. If you're into sports betting, then all this stuff matters to you. Hockey, baseball, basketball, football, and then there's the mobile, and also the race book for horse racing or dog racing or pari-mutuel, really is what it's called, and then other. So I haven't seen this have effect on that. And this is one of the biggest places for sports betting. And I haven't seen any correlation between those. But on the other hand, Nevada was one of the first places to get sports betting, and so what you're asking might be, what happens to the gaming industry within a state when that happens. And Kansas doesn't have return statistics, so we can't know for them. But maybe Michigan, which got online gaming and I think sports betting, in Pennsylvania fairly recently. They do have, well, Pennsylvania has return statistics, not Michigan. So Pennsylvania's return statistics before and after getting sports betting. Well, that's the sort of question that if you really want to know, I will do the research, but that's more of a paid consultation. I don't have the answer for that because nobody's asked me to do that, and I haven't put the 1 to 2 to 5 hours of work into answering that question. If you're very concerned, I'll be happy to do it. But some stuff helps everybody, and some things only help a few people. And when that happens, I try to, I have to set priorities. And way to go, trying to inspire me to have a live stream about that topic. This close. Back and Black complimented me. You are worth more than your weight in gold. So should I work on weight reduction? I've been working on weight reduction. Am I worth less now? I once told my other professor, not Frank, but Bruce, I once told him that someday I hope to be 75% of the man I was or am. Still working on it. Your diversity and train of thought other than just how to win at slots. I had to, I get some accusations sometimes, and I say, that's not my brand. Hate is not my brand. Diversity is my brand. Train of thought is my brand. Obviously. Yeah. Questions. Steve, I think you're up to 3 questions this time. By the way, we can go for up to another half an hour. As I mentioned, people on holiday weekends, it's more important to have a live stream for them and it's sort of unintuitive and lots of other, it's something I've learned. Got to keep the voice going. Do you think new to the floor slot machines have a primer built in the startup that I like for 2 weeks are so many spins and then dials down? It doesn't have to be at all complicated. There is, I am told that a casino gets new machines in and can have a lease, and in the lease can be a contractual obligation to have a certain payout for a little while, whether the casino likes it or not. Well, they agreed to the contract. So I am told. And that makes perfect sense that a slot machine manufacturer would want to do that to give their machines the best chance to win and better understand, their performance and how much they're played based on a known amount of return, because they've set the return. And then that's all part of, wherever they go to another casino, they would have that information, and it's all good information. So yeah. So I don't know about primer. I don't know about startup, but sometimes it is not the call of the casino to do that. Yeah. Otherwise, if there's no contractual obligation, they have reasons for wanting the machines to be successful. Like, for instance, if it is a wildly popular, it's not the first machine made by the slot machine manufacturer, it is the 10th. And on the previous ones, they did all the contractual obligations, but on the 10th one, they're like, this is loved by players. And so the casino will make the odds lower immediately because nobody cares. And they wouldn't mind losing on it because they've been waiting and dying to get a Brian Christopher slot machine, set up in a little booth. Somebody sent me a picture of a little alcove set up with 4 Brian Christopher machines, and somewhere, was it Kansas, Missouri, something like that. It was so cute, but it was also kind of like, if you just want to play it for the experience, of course they're going to lower the odds. On the other hand, there's times when they want to have higher odds, and then all the other things that I talk about. Yeah. Is the bonus predetermined from the bonus spin, or is the future spins choices that determine what you win? On a game of chance, which is not a bingo machine, which is not a historic horse racing machine necessarily, on a slot machine, class 3 slot machine at most all commercial casinos and most tribal casinos, everything was decided having to do with money when you place the bet. Now, if you happen to win a bonus, that was determined that you would have a bonus. If you're asked to be, do I want 15 free games or do I want 30 free games? Whatever you choose, it was already decided how much money you will get in the end. It's not the same with games of skill. If you have a video poker, your choice of which cards to keep for the second round matters. But then when the bet was made, the machine calculated on every possibility. So it doesn't recalculate. It just chooses the one that you chose. So yeah, all that. I mean, this is. I remember telling people. Thank you, Doug. I see your comment. I had to tell people years ago that when a physical real slot machine had a Wheel of Fortune machine, and it was the Wheel of Fortune symbol, the top symbol on the first one, on the second one, and on the third one, it just missed almost. And I'm like, it was never almost. When you press the button, it decided to take you to 0. And it randomly determined what would be the most entertaining 0 to give you. Almost. No, it wasn't almost. And people looked at me like, so you're taking the fun out of it. And I'm like, did you not want to know? So sorry. Everything was determined at the time of the bet. Unless you're on a game of skill like poker where the second hand matters, but even then more was calculated at the very beginning. So questions. Wow, there's lots of questions. Minka, for tier levels or rewards on players' cards, does the casino track your cash in versus tickets? Can they tell the difference? Should I cash my winning tickets and use the cash instead? They are legally obligated to treat cash the same way. Okay, whether it is cash or the voucher, because it's money and you're making bets with money, and there's legal requirements for that. Now, if you, they used to have stuff where if you get free play and you call up free play, if you ever read the fine print on your mail flyer, I don't have one handy. If you read the fine print, it says no cash value. So it could be for $20, but it's not $20. It'll ring up $20 in the machine, but it has 0 cash value. Because it has 0 cash value, free play doesn't have to follow gaming regulations on a payout, because what a payout of 80% on 0 is 0. Now casinos realize how evil that is, and so they don't do it, even though they're legally allowed to do that. There's plenty of gaming regulations which are they're allowed to do certain things, and they're like, we don't dare because we'd be hated. But then there's other casinos that are like, hey, everything's free game if it's legal, and so uh, when it's free play, um, are they following the requirements for real money instead of no cash value? And they have to make a decision that's more of a business decision than a legal decision. Uh, I would worry, Minka, about I've gotten I've taken out the cash, or excuse me, I've taken out the voucher when I won. Taken out the voucher, taken out the voucher, taken out the voucher, put another $20 in, take out the voucher, take out the voucher, take out the voucher, take out, and the machine ran out of paper, which is not good, because somebody comes along and puts some more paper in and maybe makes a few changes on the return statistics and does things to the software, whatever it is. You turn your back to all that, or maybe stand behind them and kind of quietly record, whatever. And were they just changing the paper, or were they punching in a new code? I don't like, and also you stop playing on a winning machine. And so it's just like, they booted you off for 10 minutes to 5 minutes to change the paper. And I just like, I'm suspicious of that. So I don't like to print a lot of paper, because it will run out. Not to mention run out of paper, but also putting the voucher back in, it can fill the bin, which is partly cash, partly voucher. And that could get filled too, which would force, both will happen. And I don't like it when that happens. I don't like being, told to stand aside, because kind of interrupts things, and there's no good outcome. Might be okay, but it won't be better. Ooh, Marcel, my voice is starting to give out. Yes, Richard, I know about Danville. What do you think of so many online casinos giving X amount of free spins on a game just to pay? Yeah, right. Absolutely. How hard is that? I see that sort of thing, and I'm like, they'd be idiots not to. Once you start looking around for this stuff, you're just like, saw that coming. Yeah, bonuses are popular. How can we use this to our advantage? I'm not sure what that means, Camilla. Steve, bonuses, sometimes you on some slot machines get a pick your bonus spins as they determine. It's not exactly predetermined. How much you're going to win from that session is predetermined, and how you get there is just for entertainment value. If it was 15 spins or 30 spins, it wasn't like it's going to end up being a different amount, because it was decided when you made the bet. Thank you, Gallo, on Isle left Colorado and is now the Horseshoe. Thank you. Yeah, there's constant updates. I check the website when they've changed the website. That's when I know the casino name has changed, and I regularly, but it's not every week. It's more like one state per week, and in a year I keep everything up to date. Let's see. Hashtag question is what I'm looking for. Bruce, I saw your comment earlier. You're welcome for the great information. I appreciate you saying that. You're going to Vegas in a few weeks, and all caps, I am going to win my first large hand pay. And so you qualified as your hand pay to be large. Will I have the option of receiving payment in cash or check? Yes. And you have to ask for it. And I've been to casinos where they had gotten a hand pay where they've said, what my options were, and others, they didn't mention it, but they still had the options. Sandy? I'm sorry. Great question, by the way. Let's not talk about it here, but more happened than I told you about your question on the Ohio. Anyway, it was really. Anyway, let's move on. It was educational. and I appreciate it despite the trauma. Do you find that in casinos that have the early taste marketing strategy, that those machines that gave a decent taste turn out to be winning slot machines to usually go back and play for profit? I have found so there's beginners with my strategies and there's advanced users, and becoming advanced users is just a matter of time, and you start thinking about stuff and it's a natural process. So if you've not even heard of the 5 spin method, then you probably want to know what that is, but you have. And when you and so in the 5 spin method, it becomes more than just a winning strategy. It becomes an assessment tool. Tools, you can assess slot machines, multiple slot machines, to see which one is a winner more than the others, more than the 5 spin method. And Magpie 11 is who I'll credit for some or all of that. She also uses it to evaluate casinos. Not everybody has 40 casinos like on the Las Vegas Strip, like Magpie 11 does. And so being able to evaluate casinos where they're, a 10-minute walk apart isn't something that everybody wants. But the 5 spin method has all this deepness to it, where you can assess, play a bunch of different slot machines and minimum bets, and then, you win $10 on your 60-cent bet and $5 on your 60-cent bet. And, we're at a casino where the 5 spin method works. 5 spin method works. And then you come across a particular slot machine. And I do this when I go to new to me casinos to assess the casino and the slot machines in it. Then you win for the same 60-cent bet, you win like $120 or $200. And you go, whoa, hold up here. I'm going to pause my assessment of slot machines with the 5 spin method, and I'm going to switch over to, was that just kind of like a luck-based hit? But lightning can strike. Or is it set to be a winner? I stay and evaluate for longer. But, you kind of have to play a slot machine to see if it's a winner. And I found an easy way to make minimum bets on the 5 spin method, where maybe I'm making money, but then I come across a big hit and I'm like, what's this? So yeah. And then if it's not a new to you casino where you travel, because coming back a week later can be hard. If it's your local casino, then yeah, come back a week later. That's another strategy, and see if that is a good time. Jan says, thank you so much for this great and valid information. You're welcome. And Camilla says to Jan, Texas Tootsie, I've learned a tremendous amount here over the last several months. That's what I'm all about. And Jan says, that's what I like about PS. I love the nickname PS, Professor Slots, but it's also kind of like PS, because, there's always more. And another thing, FF Chef. And that's my brand. Right, FF Chef. I found a winning machine, good payout 3 weeks in a row. With changing denominations, change its winning ways. I have found that all of the denominations on a winning machine that I'd found on one denomination also had winning payouts on other denominations. I've also found it where it didn't. Like, for instance, a multi-denomination machine that is, you're playing penny slots. Penny slots have shown in the return statistics in the 6 states for years that they've offered monthly returns by casino. They've shown to be the worst, except one time in Colorado, like 2 years ago, for 1 month at one of the towns. So it can happen, but it's good enough. It's one of the most sure things about slot machines. In general, on average, penny slots are the worst, and it doesn't matter in some states whether or not it's a multi-denomination machine where you chose one penny. So if you are on it sounds like you're on a multi-denomination machine. If you're making one penny denomination bets, you might find that anything other than one penny is better because of all that data out there for so long at so many different places. And so you might find that to be an advantage. There's been something that a term people have been using is progressive betting. It's not progressive jackpots, or progressive machines necessarily. It's multi-denomination machines where they change the denomination and cycle through each denomination and either make them all minimum bets or all maximum bets, or they change the amount of the bets so that it's more or less, it's 120, it's 200 credits on the one penny, 100 credits on the two penny. What is it? I should have used 300. So it's basically they're changing the credits to bet the same amount of money, but they're changing the denomination each time, and they're using that to evaluate. They say there's some advantage to that, but what I see as an advantage is, from what I understand of and explain here about how all this works with pennies denominations being bad, it's a way to sort of cycle through all the other denominations and see which one's best, or not worry about the math and just get the average return on all those denominations. But I think the natural thing to do would be to say, even though I'm making the same size bet, because I've chosen to do that, I always seem to win on the 5 cent, but not on the 10 cent and the 2 cent, and certainly not on the 1 cent. And so this becomes a strategy, and I probably should. One more article to make. Not one more from this show where I got an idea. I got like 5 ideas, and 2 of them are probably going to end up being articles. I'll make a note and check them in a year or something like that. There's so much going on. And Doug says local casino has drawings Friday. Is it spinning a wheel or yeah. Susan says, how often do you go to the casino? What is your average bankroll? So there's 2 things that I do. One is personally, I'm a high limit player, $2,500. How often do I go? Well, I was laid off 2 years ago, and I really don't see the need to play personally because I'm trying to make a living at my business. And so for my business, I try to do what everybody does. Most people do, which is go to the casino with $300, spend 2 hours there, maybe 3, might be an hour's drive away. And so and I always try to go on a Sunday, try to get there around noon and try to leave around 2 or 2:30. So I'm the same amount each time, going there, same time of the week, same time, same day of the week, so that I don't have too many differences between trip to trip to trip. So I can begin to say better which casino is, I cycled my bankroll 3 times, or I cycled it twice, or these are the winning machines that I found, and this is how I found them and what worked. And so I've been doing that as much as I can. But again, the costs of travel, the cost of going out and doing that, what I've been trying to do, put my time for this aspect of my business, is trying to get like a contract with Belterra Park. I understand that other players, other YouTube channels go in, but I mean, people just like go over the, just blow up, really excited by my saying, just sit down at a machine and just play for us. And I'm like, how does that help you? And how is that in any way unique? And so I want to do that so I can say and avoid this. And this is, the stuff I talk about this machine, this machine, this machine, this machine. I'm getting, the 5-spin method is paying out a little bit at minimum bets, but then this machine, I got 120. You saw that, and how to sort of like adjust your play based on what I see. But that is not going to be what any other YouTube channel does. And so when I eventually get that contract, it can take some time. And when I eventually get that contract, then people are going to be like, no, I just want you to be mindless and just play. What's all this moving around and winning and, why are you talking? Why are you talking? So even if I were to do that, I don't think people would like that because it's unique and it would not be what most channels do. Yeah. Doug continued. Okay. I have been more available time over the weekend. If I do this weekend, I will definitely walk the floor and do a lot of observation before jumping around on a machine. Yeah, even just listening. Some people have a mobility issue, and just listening. This can be very difficult at Yamava, Hard Rock Tampa, WinStar, Choctaw Durant, where the largest casinos in the world are. It's a dull roar all the time. Except in Hard Rock Tampa, one of my clients told me that at 1:00 in the morning on Tuesdays, it isn't a dull roar. so yeah, most casinos, holiday weekends are the exception. You can't listen, hear anything different when it's just like screaming. And some casinos will actually pump white noise. So that you can't hear a great distance because a lot of that gets blocked. So yeah, that's make observations. Things will start jumping out at you. Yeah. Thank you, Doug, for saying make sure you like the live stream. Get more viewers. Yep. Yeah, YouTube will be like, he's still going on. I'm scanning for questions. And I, that's it. Thank you. What a great live stream. You'll see me in my next live stream on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Let me make sure put that away. And, have a great Labor Day weekend. In the meantime, watch this video and the number one thing you can do more often at your casino. And Doug was just talking about it, but I'll leave it a mystery. It'll be there for you. And I'll talk to you later. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye.